Welcome back, YouTube, to another episode of Baking Outside the Lines with me, Lani Halliday. This week, we're gonna make a stack of bills as a cake for the third stimulus. It's a pandemic. Hello. Biden's multi-trillion billion dollar stimulus plan has got most Americans seeing $1,400 going into their bank accounts, and we're gonna make a little stimulus check. We're gonna do a biscuit jacquard, which is a thin cake. Probably doesn't make a lot of sense right now, but you're gonna watch and we're gonna stack and we're gonna go like that, and it's gonna be a stack of cash at the end. Let's go. I have everything meased out here. She messy. Pinch of salt. We're gonna heat this lemon curd to 170 degrees. I've got my trusty Thermapen here. We're gonna stir it, we're gonna watch it. It's gonna thicken, it's gonna change. The thing we don't wanna do is let any of the curd mixture catch or stick or kind of overheat on the bottom of the pot. So we want to just keep moving our stirring instrument and also sort of keeping the temperature nice and even of the mixture in the pot. Oh, I didn't add my lemon zest. So now is the time. The volatile oils in the lemon skin really give it a really, really bright, lemony, citrusy flavor that you can't get just from the juice. Like the zest really does bring a different dimension to the party, for sure. Cooking the oils into this while the mixture is heating is gonna release all of those oils, and there's a lot of fat in the base of the curd already at this point from the eggs. So it's definitely gonna like release. You can see that this is thickened up. The texture has actually changed quite a bit. Ooh, we're there. Right. I'm actually gonna strain this custard. The thing that makes this thick, the thing that the proteins are doing is they're all sort of like clumping, coagulating together. It's sort of making this like gel matrix that's like holding all the other ingredients together. But what can happen, which is what happened here a little tiny bit while I was zesting that lemon, is the egg, I got like almost like egg drop soup, like little teeny tiny bits of egg coagulated a little bit too much. I got too big of clumps of proteins. So there's little chunks. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna strain this custard straight into my food processor so I can add the next step, which is this butter. And then I'm gonna strain it again into this cake pan, this beautiful Great Jones cake pan, so that it can be in a nice shallow dish so it can cool down very, very quickly in the freezer. I'm just gonna give this a spin to help cool it down, and then I'm gonna start lumping in my butter, which I've cubed and is like softened and like basically room temperature. Ooh, it's already started to get like a little bit of a thicker, like aerated texture. I can see it's like bubbling in there. Bubbles, like champagne. Let's start putting our butter in. You definitely want to take your time while you're putting the bits of butter in here. You want it to like emulsify and for this to get all like floofy and fluffy and puffy. It went from like very thin and watery, got thicker, just gotten paler since we started it in the food processor. Give it time between every addition of the butter to give each little bit of butter time to incorporate and emulsify. But yeah, we'll just keep going. Ah, shit. Oh my God, it's in my eyes. Okay, let's look. This might need some salt because, as we know, all baked goods need salt. You can see like how pale in color this has gotten. What we really need to do is get this stuff chilled so that when our cake is baked, we're ready to like spoon it or pipe it or what have you. And so we're gonna put it in this shallow dish, cover it, pop it in the freezer. The next thing we do is we're gonna get our cake all pulled together. We are gonna make a design in our cake, and for that we need like a cake paint. I use a thing called tuile paste, equal parts confectioner sugar, flour, egg whites, melted butter. Makes a cookie base. We're gonna use it for our paint. Lego. Ooh. Equal parts flour. I use Bob's Red Mill's 1-to-1 gluten-free flour blend. Our powdered sugar. Egg whites. This is like melted butter. Oh, it's my little offset spatula that Food 52 sent me. Thank you, Food 52. So we're just gonna mix this up. And you can't overmix it because it's gluten-free. So I'm gonna start with a little bit of white. It starts as like this kind of pale creamy color, but even that is like misleading because once I start adding in color, it wouldn't even really read. This is a teal green color. We're just gonna start with like 3 drops. I mean, already we're loving this color, but we're definitely gonna need something greener for the base, for the actual cake. I'm gonna pull out actually the leaf green. I'm gonna start with 1.5 big drops of this leaf green. Yeah, oh my goodness, how pretty. And I actually want all the detail work to be like pretty saturated. So I'm actually gonna like go for it with the color. 3 big drops of the leaf green. I'm gonna do like 2 more drops of this teal color. This is gonna be for the detail work. If you don't like food coloring, what you can do is you can start a YouTube channel called I Hate Food Coloring, but this is like my fun time, so don't at me, not interested. Little drop of royal blue. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. I basically need to put this into like what I'm gonna be using for my paintbrush. Scooch all of this down to the bottom. We're just gonna make the teeniest, tiniest little snip. This is the part where we're gonna do our detail work. This is gonna be our reference image. This basically, if I just do this one here, we're gonna be able to get like 4 stacks out of this. And you'll see what I mean in just a minute. I took a little brief intermission because I literally nearly almost this thing out. What I actually nearly forgot to do was make a reverse of this because we're gonna make this in reverse and you're gonna see what I mean in a minute when we get going on this, but we're gonna be able to fit 1 and then this is gonna go here. So same thing what I was doing before, but I made a little reversal. So I've got my reference image here and now it's all just like time to go, freehanding. Looks pretty good. I'm like pretty happy with that. So like this is what it's supposed to look like. This is what it looks like in reverse. Check that out. That looks pretty good. All right. Ooh, careful, bitch. So this is gonna go into the freezer. We'll set it on here. The next thing we're gonna do is actually make the actual cake, the Joconde. Joconde is a really thin cake. It's also known as striped sponge, typically when we use it with the tuile paste. The base is gonna be a meringue that we make with room temperature egg whites and a little bit of sugar, almonds and confectioner sugar, and then we're gonna finish it with some flour and some butter. I'm gonna use this little tiny piece of this lemon and just rub it all around this bowl, and it's gonna be doing a couple things. It's gonna help clear away any of the fat that's left, but it's also gonna be adding acid, which is gonna help stabilize the egg whites that we're gonna whip into a meringue. I'm gonna add the whites to this bowl. I'm starting this on low and then I'm going up, which we know, but what I'm doing is I'm actually just kind of stirring these, trying to get the egg whites broken up. I'm gonna create a little bit of a frothy foam on top before I start adding the sugar. We want this nice and stable and we want it to get to a stiff peak. So I kind of just want to stop this and show you. If you can see, there's like, when I kind of scooch the foam to the side, you can see that there's a pool of egg whites down in the bottom there. That's called the foaming stage. I'm looking in here and I don't know if you can see this, but the bubbles are irregularly sized. Bigger bubbles here, some medium size, and then some like tiny bubbles all over. What we really want is those bubbles to get smaller and smaller and smaller and to be like pretty uniform in size. I think we're just about in the soft peak. We can start adding our sugar now. Little bits at a time. It's starting to hold these like streaks. You can see there's like a soft little peak there. That's the soft peak stage. But we do want to go a little bit firmer than this. Just a little bit. After that stage, I turned it back on for a count of 15 seconds. This looks actually perfect. It actually is like standing at attention there. I'm actually gonna leave this right in this bowl and I'm gonna utilize this second bowl. I'm going to mix the eggs, the almonds, and the confectioner sugar, and then those things are all gonna come together at the end. We wanna let this be apart from all these fatty things. These fatty things are gonna have their turn all by themselves. And then we're gonna combine them so that we keep a lot of that beautiful loft that we've just built, spent all that time and attention building. So all these things have been sifted. They're a little bit clumped together again because they've been sitting. But we're just gonna put these in a bowl and we're gonna mix those with the paddle attachment. This is gonna sit on here for a good 6 minutes. This isn't ready yet, but this is the part where I'm gonna start adding in some color. The part that I did before was all this fine line work, is all this dark stuff, but this cake is gonna be all this like background color. We're gonna get like a light little pale green background color. Mute it down a little bit with this white, and then we'll add just literally like, we'll start with 1 drop. This is a teal color, so it's got blue in it. More white. Yes. Obviously she's changed color. Like it's just coming into the ribbon stage, but I'm quite happy with that. Now comes the magic part. These eggs have been sitting here for a good long time. I'm just gonna give them an extra little whip by hand so that everything just kind of comes back together. We're gonna take a bit of this and just sort of mix it quickly into here. It's almost like the act of tempering. Now we're gonna start folding as opposed to stirring. Meringue. We just wanna mix it, and then we're gonna get our flour, and at the very last, the butter. All right, this looks like very good. Get this lovely frozen thing out of here. All right, this is all ready to go. I'm just gonna pop it in the oven. This is gonna bake really fast, like 8, 10, 12, maybe max minutes. I'm gonna rotate it halfway through around like 4 minutes. Well, let's go. It's a little brown. That's fine, we'll live. Definitely wanna get this out of the pan as quick as we can. So I'm just gonna give this a quick spray. We're gonna turn it out. I've gone all around the edge. So when we peel this back, we wanna make sure we don't accidentally pull any of this detail out. Ooh, yeah. Check it out. That's not so bad. All right, let's go. Steamy cake, here we go. This will need to cool just a little bit so we don't like melt our curd, and then we can just trim this and stack our cake with our beautiful lemon curd that we made. My lemon curd has curded. Oh my God. This is delicious. I'm gonna cover this back up so it doesn't like get dried out. We're gonna trim our little stimmy cake, and then we're gonna layer and we're gonna eat. Okay. We're letting it sit in the fridge and letting it really like get all that butter like nice and re-solidified, the fat in there. I'm gonna assemble it right here. right, that's it. That's a sumi cake. If you like these kinds of videos, if you are really feeling this content, like, comment, subscribe. Also, you should already be subscribed. Your notifications should be turned on so that you can get this kind of content sent to you once a week, every Wednesday. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next week for another video of Baking Outside the Line.